Welcome back, people of Earth and elsewhere, to Spam Crackers continues. Joe Starstruck. If this is the first video you are clicking on for some reason, I'm halfway through Jotaro's route right now, or I think I am, but I could be wrong about that. You might want to watch the other videos before starting this one. This is JoJo's fan-made dating simulator. Let's load in. Okay, now we're caught up. It appeared that I didn't save in the right place last time. Actually, it was probably quick-saved. Whatever. Jotaro! I tried to catch up to him with Speedwagon in my arms. As soon as Miss Arena dismissed the class, he was wasting no time leaving. When he heard me call out his name, he paused and looked back at me expectantly. Well, we live on the same street, so how about we walk home together? I offer a smile. Sure, we're not exactly friends, but we're getting there, aren't we? We are associates now. But before Jotaro can answer, someone bumps into me from behind. Startled, I drop Speedwagon on the floor. It all seemed to happen in slow motion. I watch our child tumble out of my hands and splat onto the ground. My gut freezes in panic when I see the edge of the sack split open and flour spills onto the floor. Speedwagon! Jotaro? I look up, but he's gone. Students walk by, either laughing or expressing their sympathy, but I fall to my knees and try to scoop the flour back into the sack. What a perfect start to this project. It hasn't even been an hour, my baby is dead. I should probably hit up the market later and buy duct tape and more flour to fill up the baby. The bell rings, and with it begins lunch period. It's Jotaro's turn to take Speedwagon and babysit, but I haven't seen him all day. Of course, it's always possible that he ditched class. Old habits, right? But he did say he'd be here. At any rate, if he really doesn't show up today, I'll stop by his place and just drop off the baby. It sounds like we're divorced already, and it's only been a week. With Speedwagon in my arms, I set off in search of Jotaro. I have no idea where to start, but I gotta try. Smoking by the dumpster, maybe? My search takes me outside on a hunch. I look from left to right as I walk through the campus. Maybe he's behind the building, being a stereotypical delinquent. I walk right into something or someone, and it sends me falling back onto the ground. My parental instincts kick in, and I hold Speedwagon tight against my chest. That only means my arms aren't free to break my fall, and my ass feels the brunt of the impact. I tense up in my tailbone, something. My apologies? Hey, Kakyoin does show up in Jotaro's. I look up and I see a head of red hair. Kakyoin does show up on Jotaro's route. He showed up on Joseph's route, and I thought he was just a cameo, but apparently not. He's holding his hand out to me, and I take it. With his help, I get back on my feet. Nice cape, by the way. That's fabulous. This guy looks familiar. Thanks. No need to thank me. I was the one who knocked you down. He offers an apologetic smile and looks from Speedwagon to me. Ah, you're Jotaro's neighbor, aren't you? And his partner for home ec? We're seniors? Potentially taking a home ec class? Whatever. Whoa, who is this guy? Yeah, how'd you know? I take a step back and he seems to notice my rising suspicion. In response, he just bows his head in greeting. I'm Kakyoin, a friend of Jotaro's. Wait. So Jotaro does have friends? Oh, I'm Leslie. Did Jotaro not tell you that? Not at all. He only described you to me. Oh boy. More quick saves, because why not? What has he said about me? He just smiles at me knowingly. That you're his new neighbor and his partner for home ec. Huh. Guess whatever it is, I'm not allowed to know. Well, what about you? Are you really his friend? He always seemed like the loner type. Maybe friend is the wrong word for it. He seems to think to himself. Talk about mysterious. Anyway, are you looking for him? I nod and hold up the baby. Yeah, it's his turn to take Speedwagon off my hands for a week. Kakyoin holds in a laugh and points behind me. He's taking a break behind the school there. Once you see the dumpsters, keep going and you'll run into him. So I was right. Gotcha, thanks. And I was right by extension of that. I wave goodbye and pick up the pace as I head to where Kakyoin indicated. The smell of wet garbage welcomes me the closer I get. There's no way Jotaro is willingly spending time back here. But I walk past the dumpsters as Kakyoin said and pick up on cigarette smoke and pause. Jotaro? I call out, not expecting much of a reply. Hey. I look over in the direction of his voice and spot him sitting on the ground and leaning against the wall. He's looking up at me with a lit cigarette between his lips. Oh, hey. I stand awkwardly waiting for some kind of response, but he only snuffs out the cigarette in the dirt and lets out a soft sigh as he stands. Sorry for disturbing your peace, I guess. What are you doing here? You're certainly not getting any Father of the Year awards. I'm not gonna comment on that. I relax a little, realizing there's no real hostility between us, but he's not saying anything or even looking at me. So what are you up to anyway? I ran into your friend, Kakyoin. He says you're taking a break? Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Jotaro shifts in his spot and falls silent again. This is one hell of a break room. I glance around the area. Aside from being near the dumpsters, there's scattered trash and cigarette butts, not to mention the crude graffiti scribbled on the wall he's leaning against. But it's quiet and really out of the way. Not many people come through here, I guess. Perfect for Mr. Tall, Dark, and Handsome. Jotaro scoffs at my remark and shrugs. Don't you have class? You're one to talk! Listen, I've been looking for you to give you Speedwagon. It's your week to babysit, remember? Jotaro finally looks back at me, and then to the flour sack. He clears the trash around him and pats on the ground. Yeah, just leave him here. Granted, if Speedwagon was a living, breathing mini-human being, I wouldn't even entertain the thought of entrusting Jotaro. Entrusting him to Jotaro? This is starting to get annoying, actually. But I do as he says, and set down the sack beside him. It's about time Speedwagon got some bonding time with you. Jotaro scoffs and lets a slight smile slip. He pulls his hat further over his eyes as if to hide it and shoos me away. Right, you should get going. Lunch is almost over. Fine, guess I'll see you around. I turn to leave and give him a slight wave as I head back. As I make my way back to the main building, the bell rings to signify the end of lunch. I pick up the pace to head back to class, my mind lingering on Jotaro. I really don't know that much about him, do I? Despite everything, I don't have much of a grasp on who he is. For one, he's really hard to read. For another, he seems really guarded. Of course, that can change the more time I spend with him, but will I really have that chance? Will he give me that chance? I can feel the weight of the thoughts he inspires hang on my shoulders. And they keep following me all the way to the school building. Later, as I make my way to school, I see a familiar hulking figure about 100 feet ahead. Jotaro! He pauses and turns around, giving me a chance to catch up. Morning, where's Speedwagon? Jotaro refers to his school bag and we both start walking together. Safe and snug. Seriously, is that how you take care of a baby? I can't be too mad, though. It is safer in the bag than if he were to carry it around. How was babysitting duty, by the way? Did Jolene ask about it? Jotaro only shrugged. I just left it on the floor somewhere all week. Actually, thought I lost it this morning. The apathy in his voice felt more than genuine. He really couldn't give a shit about this project, huh? You always not care. Honestly, same. A dilemma. What's the worst case scenario? There's probably only one ending anyway. Are you serious? Do you always just not care? Not only is your grade on the line for this, but so is mine. Honestly, what's this guy's deal? Would it kill him to be more than a giant walking scowl? Do you always have to be such an annoying bitch? Yeah, yes, positively. Jotaro's words catch me off guard and I stare up at him. The irritation on his face is clear as day, but I'm finding it hard to sympathize. So I quickly look away, an ache in my chest, urging me to walk faster to get away from him. Whatever, I'll see you in class. I can feel the prick of tears urging me to cry, but I hold them back and walk on ahead. I'll be damned if I let Jotaro see that he got to me. The day carried on as always, and eventually the bell rang to let us know lunch was over. It's now the last day of class. It's now the last class of the day, and that only means only one thing. The baby project has come to an end. I left Speedwagon with Jotaro for the day, and while I make my way back to class, I keep an eye open for him. It wasn't until I turn the corner that I spot him. He seems to notice me too, and we make our way over to each other. I can see Speedwagon's in his arms, and am I smiling? I press my lips together to hide it when we're close enough, and I begin to speak and throw my hand out to wave. Hey, how was the kid? But while I tried to start some friendly conversation, I missed how Jotaro began to give me Speedwagon. During mid-wave, I knocked the flour sack out of his grip and it smacks into the ground. I'm an idiot. Flour inside spills out, much like how it did on the first day. I let out a shriek of panic and dropped to my knees. I've killed him! I've killed our baby! We failed. We failed as parents, as students, as responsible human beings. I ignore the other people around me as I try desperately to scoop the flower back into the sack, picking up bits of dirt and stray hairs along the way. In front of me, Jotaro just stands there and watches. He starts to make a move to walk around me, but I look up at him. I'm sorry, I've pretty much given us an F. He only shrugs. Guess this makes us Humpty Dumpty's horses and men. Since we can't put him back together again? His joke catches me off guard and I let him out a laugh. Since we can't put him back together again. I can't help but smile as I finish cleaning up the mess that I can. But that's not how it goes. Jotaro looks at me as if asking for answers. I get back up, flour dusted all over my uniform. It's the king's horses and men. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty together again. He seems to ponder this as we walk into the class together. I offer a smile, feeling as if maybe things will be okay after all, whether we fail or pass. It was still fun. Was it though? I mean, we didn't exactly have any less than ideal escapades concerning this flour sack. Miss Arena wasted no time in giving us our grades as we walked in. She instructed us to sit down with our partners, only took a look at the state of our flour sack before jotting down scores as she traveled through the classroom. As expected, Jotaro and I failed. Even as Speedwagon was sitting on my desk, flour was still leaking out. I look over at Jotaro. He's leaning back in his chair, held tilted up toward the ceiling with his hat over his eyes. Is he taking a nap? Extra credit? I decided to let him be and raise my hand. Miss Arena, do we get a chance for extra credit? All eyes in the class turn towards me. Some look grateful as I ask out loud what they wanted to know. Miss Arena tapped her pen against her lips and thought. I can give those who failed an extra assignment. How does that sound? A handful of the class voiced their approval, and I caught some thank yous directed my way. Just stay behind a bit after class and I can give you all the details. With all that said and done, I glance at Jotaro. He hasn't moved an inch. Is he really asleep? I'm not leaving him be. If he is, I should let him know about it. Jotaro, you awake? I nudge his arm a bit and try to get a better look at his face. He suddenly tilts his head over and lifts his hat up enough to meet my eye. He looks really bored. Oh, you are. Well then, I guess you heard all that. About the extra credit? Jotaro doesn't answer, but he sits up a bit straighter and yawns. He puts his hat back on his head, acknowledging his little nap time is over. Are you gonna do it? He shakes his head slightly. No, but thanks. I turn my attention back to Miss Arena as she continues the next lesson. Oh, that's okay, just wanted to make sure you knew about it. It's not really my concern if Jotaro does the assignment or not, but at least I let him know what was happening. Here lately, Jotaro has been coming to class more often than not, but it makes me notice his absences even more profoundly. Today was one of those days. For some reason, seeing his empty seat in the back of the class puts me in a weird melancholy mood. Mr. Jonathan walks in and chatters, and the chatter in the classroom dies down. He takes attendance, and I can't help but notice that he's in a really good mood. Class field trip. Going to the beach. My first thought is about Jotaro. Does he like the beach? Someone as gloomy as him probably hates the loud, bright, crowded atmosphere. Even still, I make a note to tell him about the trip. Who knows, maybe he'll surprise me. As Jonathan goes over the specifics, I find myself playing out how I'll bring it up to Jotaro. If I play my cards right, I might actually be able to convince him. Is that the goal of today? I go straight to Jotaro's house after school. I've been rehearsing what I should say for hours, but as I walk up to the door, I'm drawing a blank. He'll probably just side-eye me and close the door in my face like he did in our first meeting. It didn't make it any easier knowing that, though. I raise my hand to knock. I lower it. This is stressful. Leslie? Mr. Mark? Oh hey, it's Kakyoin again. What are you doing here? Can I date you instead? I sigh. At this point, I'm not sure myself. What are you doing? I typically go to Jotaro's house after classes. He holds up a stack of papers. He likes to look over all the lessons from the day. Huh, so even if he doesn't show up to school, he still makes sure he's caught up. The fact that he actually puts in effort towards his education, even if it's a pretty roundabout way, is really surprising to me. Jotaro really is an interesting guy. Kakyoin drops me a wink. Don't let him know I told you, though. It might tarnish the bad boy persona he's worked so hard on. I put my hand over my heart. The secret is safe with me. He chuckles before looking over at me. I let you know why I'm here, so now it's your turn. I think your eyes need to be more bluish, personally. Tell him. Yeah, why not? I can be honest to Kakyoin. I kick my foot out and look down, feeling a little stupid at my reason, but intend to tell him nonetheless. It was only fair since he told me his reason. There's a class trip coming up and I wanted to tell him about it. Kakyoin nods solemnly. Ah yes, the beach trip. Jotaro doesn't like going to class outings, so he normally wouldn't even entertain the thought of going. Normally? Well, this year is a little different. How so? Why, because you're here now. Kakyoin gives me that I know something you don't know smile that he's so fond of. I like that smile. Can I date you? I'm sure if you ask him nicely, he'll come along. I feel like I'm in one of those old-timey cartoons where my whole face turns cherry red. I'm surprised steam isn't pouring out of my nose and ears. Just then the front door opens. I thought I heard you two out here. What the hell are you doing? I was just having a friendly chat with Leslie. Jotaro huffs. Well, go do it somewhere other than my front porch. Actually, Leslie has something to ask you. Isn't that right, Leslie? Kakyoin. Part of me is grateful for Kakyoin acting as the wingman in this situation. The other larger part of me is internally slinging the foulest curses at him for putting me on the spot. Jotaro looks at me expectantly, his face completely unreadable. Damn it, I can't back out now. Thanks, Kakyoin. I guess I just have to get it over with. There's a class trip coming up. Mr. Jonathan was talking about it this morning. Jotaro's expression doesn't change, so I trudge forward. We'll be going to the beach. Still nothing. Kakyoin gives me an encouraging smile, egging me on. So, I just wanted you to know. Is that all you wanted to say? Kakyoin, you monster! No, I guess it isn't. Okay, here goes nothing. I just thought it might be fun if you went too. I mean, if you wanted to. If you aren't busy. If you're up for it. If you don't have plans. Okay, now I'm rambling. I snap my mouth shut and wait with my heart in my throat. There's no way he'll agree, especially with my sloppy invitation. I want to melt into the cracks on the ground. Beach, huh? Sure. Sure? I'll go. Kakyoin looks happy, but not surprised. I, on the other hand, feel like I've just been sucker punched in the gut. In the best way. Okay, I guess I take a few steps back to make my hasty retreat before Jotaro can change his mind, and I stumble a bit and Kakyoin hides a laugh. I'll see you later. I break into a dead sprint to my house. Holy shit, I did it! I did it! Thank you, Kakyoin! Oh, yay. Ah, the beach. Gotta love the ocean air. I think I commented about this before, but I've never been to an ocean that actually smells good. Maybe because I've only been to the Atlantic. A lot of students have already dispersed. Don't go too deep in the water, stay close enough to see me. Oh, and other than that, have fun. There's some cheering and a couple of kids make a beeline to the ocean. I watch them with a smile before turning in a small circle and squinting. Where is Jotaro? Probably under the umbrellas. I mean, if this is in character, he's still in his full school uniform with his hat on under the hot sun. We haven't talked since I asked him to come, and he wasn't at the train station with the rest of the class this morning. I know I shouldn't have had my hopes up, but damn if I'm not a little disappointed. I saw and considered hunting for Josuke, but I decided against it. My mood has been dampened, and I don't want to ruin his fun with my gloominess. Guess I'll just stay out of the sun and hope the UV rays bake my brain. Oh, lay out in the sun. I was gonna say stay out of the sun because I sunburn really badly. I find a nice empty spot of sand and plop down. I guess I should have realized he wasn't coming this morning, but a part of me was hoping he had taken an earlier train. Yeah, right, like that would happen. Just because I had been counting the days down to the trip doesn't mean Jotaro felt the same way. I pick up a handful of sand and sift it through my fingers. Is this nice sand? I'm such an idiot. Hey, more question marks. I turn my head at the voice. I'm a little peeved that someone is bothering my solemn lamenting, but my tune changes immediately as I see who it is. I like your swimsuit better than Joseph's. Jotaro! I jump up and brush off my shorts. Again, and he's also got, like, the Star Platinum swimming trunks. I thought you weren't coming. I already said I'd go, didn't I? Yeah, I guess you did. I just figured you slept in or forgot or something. Jotaro shrugs and looks out into the water, seemingly done with the conversation. We both take a seat in the sand and enjoy the light breeze and warm sun. I try to wrap my head around the fact that Jotaro actually showed up, and if Kakyoin wasn't bullshitting, it was because of me. I wonder what made me so special. I look covertly over at Jotaro and see he's pulled something out of his jacket. It's flimsy blue and folded into a square. Is it a plastic dolphin? He finds the little plastic nozzle and wraps his lips around it before exhaling. The blue thing crinkles and it expands a bit. A few more puffs and the thing is inflated. Jotaro caps the nozzle and turns it to me. It is! It's a dolphin! I brought a friend. Oh my gosh. What's his name? I haven't really thought about it. Why don't you name him? Oh my gosh, he's adorable. Jotaro's spirits are unusually high today. With how I'm feeling right now, I'm thinking it's contagious. Well, if Jotaro's happy, how can everybody else around not be happy? It's either that or they're staring in horror because he's smiling. I tap the dolphin on the nose. I dubbed thee Speedwagon the Second. Yes! I was probably, if I was going to type it in, I probably would have named it Speedwagon as well. That works. Oh my gosh, he's blushing. Like some sort of emotional chameleon, my face heats up too. He looks towards the water and takes a deep breath. Today's a good day to be at the beach. Do you like the beach, Jotaro? I do. Something about the ocean makes me feel right. Like I'm where I belong, Mr. Future marine biologist. I open my mouth, but find that I can't think of anything to say. I wasn't expecting such a thoughtful, sweet answer. Jotaro is definitely more than meets the eye. I think that's why I've been drawn to him since our first meeting. Jotaro sets Speedwagon the Second down and breathes in deeply again. You could just put the double Roman numerals. It would be easier than writing out the entire words. Sorry, I'm talking so much. I don't know what's gotten into me. Don't be sorry. I smile. I'm glad you told me. We share a long look before Jotaro takes off towards the water. I watch his retreating back. My heart feels warm and full. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to follow him, so I decide to watch him from a distance. He plods into the shallow water and the gentle waves lick at his tanned calves. He searches around for a while, taking small steps, and with his head down studiously. What's he looking for? I smile to myself. Jotaro really does like the beach. I honestly figured he wouldn't be into it, considering the loud, obnoxious people and the unrelenting sun. No, that's me. I use my toes to play in the sand as I pass the time and watch Jotaro. He picks up a wad of seaweed before tossing it to the side and continuing on. He's really getting into his private little treasure hunt. A beach ball rolls over to me and I pick it up. Hey, Joseph. The lesser Jojo. I put the ball over my head and give it my best throw. Dwayne catches it, and Joseph has to run the distance to retrieve it. Bye! Can't say I didn't try. I look back to Jotaro, and he's crouched down to look in the water. A minute passes, and I figure he's found whatever he's looking for. I make my way over to him, but I stay on dry land, just out of reach of the waves. That's also adorable. This is the cutest picture since Josuke's route. He must feel my presence because he turns his head and looks at me before turning back to whatever he's entranced with. Starfish! I found a sea star. Oh? I crouched down, too, for solidarity. I've only seen a few of them in my lifetime. I call them starfish, though. A lot of people call them that, but they aren't really fish. They're echidnoderms. Sea star is more accurate. I like the sound of sea star better, too. Sea star platinum. I can't tell, but it's probably yellow. It does have a prettier ring to it, I'll give him that. Jotaro goes back to quietly watching his spindly new friend. His face looks so soft right now, I feel honored that I get to see that side of him. I have a feeling that not many people do. I stand up and take a few steps into the water. It's a little chilly, but it's a lovely contrast to the beating sun. I crouch down again, right beside him, and peer into the water. Below the wavering surface, a starfish, the sea star, right next to a clump of swaying seaweed. It's beautiful. Jotaro hums in agreement. Let's poke it. I don't want to poke. No, I wouldn't do that. I say it kind of quietly, and when Jotaro doesn't respond, I figure the sounds of the ocean carried away my voice. But then, in a tone matching mine, Jotaro speaks. I'm glad you thought to invite me. I smile down into the water, but for some reason I feel a little sad. Jotaro probably isn't used to being invited to going places. His personality can be a little rough, but when you bother to get to know him, he's a good person. I'm sure a lot of people don't bother, though. I wish I could show those assholes this Jotaro. The one content to watch a sea star with such a tender face. At the very least, I'm happy that I'm one of the few that has the privilege to see this side of him. For the content side, Jotaro stands. Stands! I'll be right back. I stay in the water when Jotaro leaves, just watching the seaweed push and pull with the current. It's almost hypnotizing, I swear. This had better not turn, If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have noticed a little sea star hiding amongst the deep green vegetation. I'm glad I got the chance to see it. I get up and wade out of the water, a little annoyed as the dry sand clings to my feet. I had the intentions to find Jotaro, but he finds me first. Oh no. Not this trope. He's returned with a dolphin and 2 popsicles. He hands me one. I didn't know what flavor you'd like. Hope sea salt is okay. Yeah. Is sea salt a common thing, or is this a Kingdom Hearts reference? I've never tried it, but I'm so thrilled that he got me something that I don't care what it tastes like. He could have brought me back a charred stick and I'd cherish it. I take it and we both lick the treat silently. It's interesting. The salt is definitely noticeable, but it's also very sweet. I decide that I really like it. Jotaro grunts and makes a weird face when he's about halfway done with his. Are you okay? Brain freeze. His answer catches me off guard and I laugh. Jotaro looks distraught though, so I collect myself. Press your tongue to the roof of your mouth. He looks skeptical, but he does it. It's gone. It's a nifty little trick a friend taught me. Is that friend Kakyoin? That's really useful. I nod and we both look out to the ocean and enjoy our treats and the company of one another. Alright class, start gathering your things. I can't believe it's already been 4 hours. The sun has started to dip in the sky and I know in another hour it'll be dark. I'm sure it does fly when you're having fun. You have all your things, Leslie? I nod and give him a smile. I had a lot of fun today. Yeah, I did too. It looks like he's about to say something else, so I stay quiet. Is it just me or does he seem a little nervous? We should hang out again sometime. Just the 2 of us. Holy smokes, did he really just ask me to hang out? Like, just the 2 of us? Like a date? If that's what you want to call it. Yes! So, would you like to? Now that the initial shock is warmed off, I'm quick with my answer. Yeah, absolutely! Jotaro nods, obviously pleased with my answer. With a skip to my step, we follow our classmates off the beach. Success. August. This is the first time we've been to August, isn't it? As I approach the building, I can see Jotaro's hulking frame standing outside. I am 15 minutes early. How long has he been here? He spots me and makes his way over. I already got our tickets. You didn't have to pay for mine. It's not a big deal. I'll buy us lunch then. He shrugs. I have a feeling that when the time comes, he'll insist to pay for that too. What a gentleman. Well, whatever. I don't mind being spoiled by Jotaro. True. Yes! I knew it! I should have guessed we were going to an aquarium. There's a little group of people surrounding the glass, quietly oohing and ahhing as I watch the fish lazily zoom around. Well, are they lazy or are they zooming? We approach the booth and the employee gives Jotaro a chipper smile. Back again, Kujo-san? Jotaro nods. So he's a regular here. I guess I'm not all that surprised. He holds his hands out without it being asked, and the woman stamps it. He looks back at me and I step forward to give her my ticket. Jotaro has been blocking me from view, so the employee looks at me with shock. Oh, you brought someone with you this time. He nods again. Is this your first time here? Yeah, it is. I'd offer to give you a tour, but Kujo here probably already knows the place better than any of the workers. She holds her stamp out and I give her my hand. She presses it against my skin before giving us both a bright smile. You two have fun now, you hear? We both bow our heads politely and make our way into the aquarium. It's pretty busy, even with Jotaro keeping his strides short. I have to struggle not to lose him amongst the crowd. I mean, we could get separated, but I guess that he sticks out. A group of people cut in front of me and I move around them. I can see Jotaro's hat, but he's a bit further up ahead now. Oh, see? Again, I need to shut up. Jotaro! We both wade through the people until we meet again. Are you okay? Yeah, it's just really crowded. It's been busy like this since the birth of Miyako? Miyako? You'll get to meet her soon. Well, holy shit, he's smiling. Whoever this Miyako is, he's obviously fond of her. Now I'm pretty excited too. Well, I look forward to meeting her. She's just past the bioluminescence exhibit. In the meantime, he holds out his hand to me. What's he want, a high five? My confusion must be clear on my face because he holds it out more firmly. So we don't get split up. Oh! Oh! Holy moly, oh wow, dang, goodness, gosh! As if my body is trying to sabotage me, my hands suddenly feel cold and clammy. I wipe my hand on my thigh and take his. It's big and warm and swallows my hand easily. Is there anything you'd like to see first? As if I can think of something like that in this situation. Show me your favorite exhibits. Okay. Jotaro sure does know his stuff. When we started, I was reading the little plaques, but I quickly decided I didn't need to. Jotaro's information is much more precise and in-depth, and it's a lot more interesting hearing him talk about these things anyway. The tour guide wasn't lying when she said that Jotaro knew the place well. And sometimes when he's talking, he'll squeeze my hand. It makes me feel like my heart is a little bomb that keeps exploding against my ribs. At first I had trouble paying attention to anything else, or other than his hand around mine, but as the day wears on, it starts to feel natural. I eventually get my voice back and point to the fish and ask him about it. He's able to provide me with various details and facts about them. Is this where you go to when school is going on? And then we get to a huge room, where the glass goes to the floor and all the way up to the high ceiling. Everything is cast in wavering blue, giving it a dreamlike quality. He releases my hand and goes to the glass. His gaze is pointed upwards, so I follow it there above him. There above him is a baby beluga whale. There she is, Miyako. She's floating around lazily, her little flippers giving a non-committal flap every once in a while. It's obvious that she's still young, but even still, she's huge. It's a beluga calf. We quietly watch as she moseys through the water. It's almost surreal seeing her move. Isn't she beautiful? I'd never heard a beluga whale called beautiful before. I always thought their heads looked like doughy, half-risen biscuits, honestly, but Jotaro's awe has affected me, and I totally understand what he means. She is. But I'm struck with another beauty, which to me is even more breathtaking than Miyako. It's Jotaro. Silhouetted by the dim blue light that filters through the water, he stands almost nose to the glass as he watches the dolphin. He's so full of love and respect and awe for that young little mammal. He's so different from the guy I had met only a few short months ago. But he wasn't different. But he wasn't different, was he? This was the same Jotaro, it's just that now I understood him. How he had a hard time reaching out to other people and communicating, how he was used to being judged for his looks, and how that's made him somewhat reclusive. Jotaro? I tap him gently on the shoulder and he turns to me. Yeah? Yes! I'm glad you brought me here today. And I'm glad I got to know you. Jotaro doesn't say anything. We just look at each other for a long time. And then we kiss. Yay! We make our way back to the front of the building. I feel a little disoriented, like I've just woken up from a dream. That was a lot of fun. I had fun too. We stand in the lobby awkwardly, both knowing that it's time to go, but not wanting to leave. Would you like to come back and visit Miyako with me next week? Of course! He nods, pleased with my immediate answer. He leans in quickly and gives me another kiss on the cheek. I'll see you at school! I stand there and watch Jotaro leave, holding my burning cheeks. As shocked and happy as I am for the second kiss, I'm even more elated about what he'd said. See you at school. I'm so proud of him. I'm so in love with him. Good end. Okay, so Jotaro does have a good end. That is happy. That is fantastic. Jotaro is best JoJo. Let's just check this out. I'm not gonna go through and worry about any of the other dialogue options because I got the good ending right away. I might, when I go back after Jonathan's route, I might go back and record myself going through the other dialogue options to see if I can find any other endings, but for now, that's going to be it. Yes! Makes me wonder, okay, now I'm second guessing myself again. Is there a way to get a good ending with Joseph? Is there? I don't know, and I'm not sure I want to look that hard. I don't know. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video where we start looking at the teacher. More so than we already have been. Yeah, ciao!